Welcome to EnduringTechnologyPress.com. I'm Eric, and I've had a Texsport Waffle iron for about 10-15 years now. And I like it, as long as you acknowledge its limitations. These run about $40-50, and for that they're a really good value, I think, in a cast iron waffle maker. Certainly much better than Teflon. I don't really like Teflon, but you have to accept the limitations. One of these is that because these pieces come apart inherently, and you can see these are well seasoned now, and they go into a ring, and then the idea is you flip them over, right, halfway through. So in that, because it comes apart, you're also going to find that you really have to hold on to it when it's open. Don't get tempted to let go of it, because the piece will come loose. So that means a little bit of juggling. It also means when you turn it over, it's a little bit more difficult to do that on that ring, unless that ring is sitting in something on a particular stove. In my case, I have an induction cooktop right now, and it works fine, works beautifully with that. I had a standard resistance burner before, it worked all right on that. I've even used it on a propane camp stove. You're going to need to hold this ring when you go and flip it over. In order to do that, and this ring can get mildly warm, right? I just have a towel that I usually have hanging on the oven door handle, and I use that to just hold that down and then flip it over. You're going to need to get these well seasoned, and then you're going to need to use a fork when you end up taking the waffle out. Usually there's still a little bit of stick. These, until you have them well seasoned, they're incredibly unforgiving. Meaning it's not like a cast iron skillet where you can get away with sort of scraping things off. With all the ridges on a waffle iron, there's no scraping it off, right? So make sure you season it well beforehand, and you keep seasoning it. Now fortunately, you'll see we just had waffles. There they are, some of our whole grain waffles. You're not really dealing with a whole lot of need to wash and rinse or any of those things after you've done it. They come off clean, so they're really easy from that perspective. In terms of time to heat it up, what I usually do is put it on the stove, turn the stove on medium heat, then I go ahead and start with making up the batter, which is really very quick. Usually once during that process I'll flip it over. You can see there why you need to hold it down while you're adjusting it. I'll flip it over once, I'll warm up both sides, and then I'll put the batter in. Usually I flip right before I put the batter in. I'll flip it so that the warmer surface is on the top, and the one being warmed is the one on the bottom that's cooler. Put the batter in, usually a little bit of oil first. You'll notice if it starts to look dry, you want to put in a little bit more oil, right? Just one bit in each of the four. On occasion, you'll get a little bit of flame if some of the oil seeps around there. Not a big deal, just don't have flammable stuff around your kitchen. You know, this is not the place to store gasoline or other flammable solvents, or even be sticking the newspaper right beside it, because there is that risk wherever you use oil. So I put the batter in, close it up. You'll get a feel for how long it takes before you need to flip it. Don't open it up, you'll rip your waffle apart. Flip it around, seat it down. You'll want to make sure, it's got these little grooves here, you want to make sure it sits down properly in those grooves. Go for the other side, and then you'll be able to check it. You'll be able to sort of lift it open and see how it's coming off. Usually it'll detach from one side but not the other. That's my experience. And you'll have to use a fork to just pry that little bit out. There won't be that resistance from the other side. One side will pop off. Pry it out with a fork. You'll have your hot surface on the bottom now. Flip it over, add your batter, and you're good to go for another waffle. Is it slower than the electric ones? Yeah, probably a little bit. But you get a good sized waffle. If you even want to buy two and double your production, you can do that. I've never found the need to go that far. It's proven to be a good investment. I like cast iron. You know, for the price, I think it's a pretty good quality buy. And it really does, with whole grain waffles, they really do make a really cool breakfast. And you can go to the website for more on the review on the Texsport waffle iron, and you can also see more on our waffle recipes where we use whole grain and the grain mill that you can produce your own grain, own flour at home. Those will be in the show notes below. So for more on this and other cool things to empower your independence, go to EnduringTechnologyPress.com. Thanks.